One of the many trauma responses I have as a way to keep myself safe and sane was hyper efficiency. I am a natural critic and I'm able to see, hey, here's where I'm seeing money, energy, attention, and time bleeding, being wasted, going nowhere. And one of the reasons I developed this was I had so many things in my life that I had to do that I had no interest in doing and that were genuinely incredibly painful for me to have to do. And the narrative has always been, let me get through this as quickly and efficiently as possible so I can just get done and escape. I need to escape this miserable world, area, location, situation, people. I mean, get the hell away from it. And it's like, great, Steve, if you were in a painful thing, do it as quickly as possible and get through. Perfect. Efficiency is fine. Making your system a little bit more smooth, less investment, less expenses is perfectly fine. But the hyper efficiency is where it really causes problems. Ultimately, it's a min-maxing problem. I have to spend the least possible for the maximum result. Now, if I don't have a guarantee, I'm not going to do it. I see this with a lot of my clients. It's like, no. You never get a guarantee. Well, I'm not going to do it then, Steve. And it's like, well, why are you seeing me? You say you want X, Y, and Z. Here's a path, a possible path. You can still do everything right, and you might get it. But you still could do everything right and get struck by lightning. You don't control that. And it's like, no, I need the guarantee or I'm not doing it. Like, hey, fair enough. Now, you could say, Steve, what you're actually talking about is scarcity, not having enough money, energy, attention, and time. And clearly we need the abundance mindset to counteract that. It's like, hey, that might be its own discussion. Put that to the side. It's more about the process. If I'm inefficient, if things don't go smoothly, I feel like a failure. Why? Because distress equals death, or at least danger. Distress equals danger. Optimization and over-optimization feels like safety. Hey, if I can keep my soul, my energy, attention, and time, my money, at the very least, I have some level of control here. Or to put it a different way, you know that feeling of distress and adrenaline that you might experience in your gut, but you don't have an actual, physical threat around you? Think back. Maybe there was a time, especially if you were raised traumatized, in your household where the tension could be felt, the energy could be felt, the vibes, where it's like, oh, I'm feeling the tension. I'm pretty sure something's going to happen that's going to lead to me crying all night. It's like, right, your gut knows before your head does. Distress equals danger. But if you were raised right, and you see this with people who are raised right, a bruise is just a bruise. Distress is just distress. A little bit of anxiety is just a little bit of anxiety. It doesn't mean the world is ending. It's like, right, your distress isn't generalized. Most of the world was actually safe. The people who were supposed to love you actually loved you. They didn't say they hated you. They didn't say you were a burden just for existing. And it's like, right, cool. Buona fortuna. I love that you had that. And for everyone else, what might be happening is if I make things as efficient as possible, then the triggers that cause distress, which then lead to me making me feel like I felt when I was traumatized, don't exist. If I make the world perfect, most efficient as possible, most safe as possible, I don't ever have to be re-triggered again. And you see this with people. Steve, I want to lose weight. And it's like, great, you're going to have to experience some hunger sometimes. Not even in a bad way, just sometimes. And they're like, no. And I'm like, well, is it a problem of not wanting to do it? Or is it a problem of, no, every time I feel distress, I feel all the distress I've ever felt in my life. It's not this distress, it's the distress 10 years ago when dad used to beat me. when I saw my best friend die, when whatever. And it's like, well, Steve, what you're talking about is generalization. It's like, oh, here's a traumatic instance. Anything similar to that incident feels triggering, which feels overwhelming. Like, yeah. What do we do about this? A, recognize it. As always, awareness first. B, deassociation. Not disassociation, that's a different word. Deassociation. The triggers I'm feeling as an empowered adult right now are not how I felt back in the day when I was a kid, or when I was an adult being traumatized, or whatever. It's two different stories. This is a bruise just being a bruise. This is a bruise from being beaten by the people who were supposed to love me. This is a time I was hungry. This is the time I was actually starving to death. This is me just being sunburnt. This is me maybe dying of exposure, clinging close to it. That's like, right, these are two separate stories. Let's cognitively separate them. And if I was doing that, I'd actually get someone to be like, okay, here's a trigger going on. What's the story that's coming up? And let's see if we can actually write these as separate incidences. A lot of times I'm also just like, maybe you feel like the world is ending and do it anyway. I see this with people who want to engage in some level of a goal. It's like, hey, Steve, I want to ask that girl out, or tell my boss no, or, pursue something that's going to be way out in left field. And it's like, right, the world is ending. This entire just be confident bro crap, throw it to the side. Feel how terrifying it is. Feel every instance of every time you've ever been traumatized. Bring it up. Let us hold it. Do it anyway and let it flow through us. And it's like, no, you're emotionally supposed to feel like the world is ending because that's what's coming up. That's the level of despair and terror that you're experiencing, even though it's just responding to an email or whatever. And it's like, let it. I think scarcity is increasing, especially in attention. Attention is the new currency. You see this in the phones and the TikTok and the advertisements. And I don't know how always online you are, but the fact that, we're just bombarded by everything. And it's like doing one more thing, whether it's taxes or bills, or trying to be like, okay, let me take care of this one financial situation or this one work situation. It's like, it's not just overwhelming. It's like there's not enough of it. There's not enough to spend. So as there are these systems, these advertisements, these social media things that are designed to take our attention as much as possible, it's like, A, we need to very much hoard it, or at the very least protect it. But B, we have to recognize that the scarcity only exists in our head. And maybe that means we need to turn the phone off. I know, it's a broken record. You hear this all the time. Do a digital detox, bro. But it's like, no, really. Maybe it's time to delete some of the apps. Don't even delete the accounts. Just take like a break for a couple days. And then see if your tension gets a little bit higher. Let's see if your energy gets a little bit higher too. And then it's also just doing things inefficiently. Allow yourself. We don't have to be perfect in process, which is really hard to learn. As a recovering Italian Catholic veteran human being male, it's like it is really, really hard to say I can do the process imperfectly. This one too, by the way. There have been so many videos that I've deleted because it's been imperfect, and it's like, Steve, just make something. You're getting enough content. You're getting enough of the meaning out. It doesn't have to be actually perfect. So if you have trouble at that end, and in fact, maybe the imperfection itself seems to trigger the trauma, that also needs to be deassociated. And if you need some help with that, come see someone like me.